there aren't even any grasshoppers moving. No armadillos, no dove for sure. We're sitting here on our little stools enjoying the day, chatting about things, and all of a sudden this 24-inch coral snake comes crawling up in front of us here. Well, I've never been scared of snakes. I know how to handle snakes. Famous last words. So I pick up the snake, I held him behind the head, and I stretch him out like this. I say, now kids, this is the most dangerous snake in North America. It's its venom attacks your nerves. You never want to play with it. See, red and yellow kill a fellow, and I got him stretched out like that so they can pet him and everything. I said, you know what? We should go up and scare my friends, Bill and John, up at the pond. So I hold his little head up and coil it in my hands like this, and then I'm holding my shotgun like this, and we go for a walk up to the pond to scare my friends. Okay, it's a pretty good walk up to the pond, which is over that hill up there, but I still got him in my hand. Okay, so it's a pretty long walk, as you can see. By the time I got up here, John and Bill were on the other side of the pond here, and me and the kids walked up, and dove were falling out of the sky in flights of 20 and 50. So of course I took a shot, boom, I nailed one right there, and then I loaded up again, boom, I took another shot, and then something bit me. It was like a paper cut on my hand. It bit me, and so I went, oh my God, I got bit by a poisonous snake. I said, hey, I stepped on the snake. I said, hey, you guys, come here, I got bit by a poisonous snake. And they go, shut up, you just need more ammo. Because they knew I didn't carry many ammo because I'm like only a one-shot guy. And so the kids are screaming, Laura's crying, my daddy got bit by a poisonous snake. And so they came over and they saw that snake under my foot. And they said, what are you doing carrying around a poisonous snake? I've been asked that question a million times. So we cut his little head off and I put him in my pocket because, you know, the doctors always want to know if you actually know what a coral snake is. And then then Bill went charging over to his truck. Okay, so Bill comes over here and pops his hood off and says, I know exactly how to cure it. Rattlesnake handlers use those shockers. We'll just shock your finger. And I said, what? And so he pulls off a spark plug and I let him shock me with the spark plug until there was little black marks all over this paper cut on my finger. And so then he slammed the hood down and says, okay, let's go back to hunting. I said, Bill, I got bit by a poisonous snake. I'd really like to go to the hospital. Okay, so they drove me into Fredericksburg. We drove kind of fast. Now that bite from that coral snake, it made me bleed like it was a paper cut. Felt like a really hot hornet sting, and it was very painful. But I could feel it spreading up my hand. It was spreading, it was spreading. Now I'd sucked the poison, I was holding my finger like this. I don't know if that was smart or not. But as it spread, it was coming down my hand, and it was becoming less hot and more tingly until it got to about my wrist, and then it just kind of disappeared. By the time we got to the hospital, they put a little rubber thing on my finger and asked me, are you sure it was a coral snake? Well, I pulled that out of my pocket and said, yeah, that's a coral snake. How'd that happen? And I told them the story, and they go, well, it's really not too smart to be handling poisonous snakes like that. And I said, I know. I said, you know, and they said, they checked the hospital listings and everything. There's only one hospital in Texas that had coral snake antivenom. That was in Austin at Brackenridge. And I used to be in a previous life a computer consultant, and being an independent kind of guy, one person show, sometimes you have those months where your payment to the health insurance company crosses in the mail with their rejection of your health insurance. Well, they found this anti-venom in Brackenridge in Austin. They were going to give me a helicopter and fly me back to Austin. Well, I'm feeling fine. I don't really feel like I need an $8,000 helicopter flight to Austin. So I said, no, never mind. They'll just drive me home. So that's what we did. We drove home. So by the time we get to Austin, I'm still feeling fine. I don't have any effects at all. My hand doesn't hurt anymore. I still got the little rubber thing on my finger. And it's, you know, they're mocking me pretty heavy on the way home. So we get to the house, and I call up the hospital. I said, hey, my name's Mark Robbins. I'm the guy that got bit by a coral snake. I feel fine. I'm not going to come in. And they went, no, you got to come in. This is a neurotoxin. You could just quit breathing any second. And I said, what? Quit breathing any second? Okay, so I got somebody to watch my kids, and I went down to the hospital dressed in all camo, walking in, I guess kind of with a confused look on my face. And so, of course, the guards went on guard, had their hands on their guns and stuff, and they said, what do you want here? I said, I'm the guy that got bit by the coral snake. And I mean, within 30 seconds of hitting the door, they had all my clothes off except my underwear, had me slapped down on the gurney, wheeled into the ER, had 2 IVs stuck in, had my hands taped to boards. It happened faster than you can imagine, and there was like 40 people standing around because I was the new patient. I had something that they'd never seen before. Everybody in the hospital wanted to be part of it. And you know that story your mom always told you, change your underwear every day in case you end up in the hospital. That's a true story, or a helpful story, let me put it that way. So there I am in my underwear with 40 people standing around me, hooked up to EKG, watching my heartbeat, my respirations and everything, 2 IVs like this. And they bring me a piece of paper. Well, a piece of paper about that thick. And they say, here, you need to sign this before we can treat you with the antivenom. And I'm just going to paraphrase it. Every page was, if you die because of this, it's not our fault. If you die because of this, it's not our fault. If you die because of this, it's not our fault. If you die because of anything, it's not our fault. And I said, well, you know what? I'm just going to go sit in the waiting room, and if I start feeling sick, I'll come get you. And they said, look, dude, the last guy that came in here didn't have any symptoms. And that was some years ago, but he didn't have any bleeding, he didn't have any sensation. 18 hours after he got bit, he quit breathing and was on a ventilator for 4 months. Oh, I know about ventilators. So I said, okay, so I signed all the papers. I can die for free. And they came in, they had 3 bottles of antivenom. They had a diluted antivenom, 10 mils, and 2 regular concentrations. And they're going to do IV push, 1 mil per minute. Tell us if anything's going on. Well, the head doctor was sitting at the end of my gurney, and I guess he'd been there 40 hours in a row because he was nodding off as this was going on. And there's all these young nurses at me looking at me in my dirty underwear. It was very exciting. So I pushed the first bottle in, and they said, "You feel anything?" I said, "Yeah, it feels cold." And I said, "Yeah, we just took it out of the refrigerator." I said, "Okay." So they start pushing the second bottle in, and the elastic around my underwear started itching so bad. Now here I got boards strapped in my hands. I'm going to have to ask somebody to scratch my underwear. Unbelievable. Well, by the time I'm deciding I can't stand it anymore, I'm going to have to ask somebody to scratch for me because it's driving me crazy, you know? It's driving me crazy. And I look down at that doctor, he pops his head up and he's got wide-eyed like that, and I'm going, oh no. And so I look down at my chest and my arms, and there's these marks about the size of a dime popping up all over me. And they start wheeling an intubation tray over, and I look up and my heart beats are like 220, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a long night, you know? So I'm sitting there, and this other freaky looking doctor walks over with long hair and pins and pocket protectors and stuff. Looked like he just got out of MIT or something. Did I have a med school? And he said, "Oh, don't worry about it, give him Benadryl." And so they did an IV push of some Benadryl, and I was sitting there like that, and I was out. So they took me to the ICU, and I started waking up after about 6 or 7 hours, and I was kind of bored and asked for a magazine. They said, "You know what? People that come to ICU are usually just happy to be breathing. They don't ever have to ask for a magazine, so we don't have any magazines." And I was like, oh. So I think about 12 hours or so, they put me in a room. And every doctor in Texas, I swear, people were driving up from San Antonio, Houston, to see the coral snake guy. "Show us the bite." I said, "Oh, that looks like a paper cut." "Yes, it does." "Tell us a story." So I tell them the story. When I got to the part of the shocking with the spark plugs, man, I could have made money on that at a comedy club. They laughed and laughed until they fell down. Well, the first day, the room was filled up all day long asking me the same story, and I said, "Okay, we're going to do Dr. Pepper from now on." And they said, "What's that?" And I said, 10, 2, and 4. I'm going to tell the story, and everybody can come at 10, 2, and 4. Otherwise, leave me alone because I'm tired. You're exhausting me. I need to recover from my snake bite. So, they had 10, 2, and 4. They'd fill up my room, and when I say fill up, there was barely standing room. It was packed. Doctors and nurses from all over. Coral snake bite. They'd pass that around. I'd tell them the story. When I got to the shocking part, they'd laugh, laugh, laugh. And finally, I came across the doctor. Said, "Oh, that's true. The rattlesnake guys carry those, you know, stun shockers, and they shock this thing, thinking that the electricity denatures the protein of the poison." So maybe that was true or not, but whatever. For 1989, I think there was 20 people that got bit by a coral snake. 20 of the stupidest people in the world, and I got to be one of them.